Hello, welcome to Pauper Guru with your host, Matthew Stoner. Today I have another deck tech coming to y'all. Fifeblade Artist. He is a 2/2 for 1 black, 1 red. He said at the beginning of my upkeep, I may sacrifice a creature. If I do, I'll deal 2 damage to target opponent or target planeswalker. Now, this commander cares specifically about throwing my creatures at my opponent. So, I guess we're going to begin with a ramp that allows you to get this guy out faster. Well, I mean he's a 2-drop, but you're going to need a lot of creatures out on the board to continue using his abilities. So, we run Rakdos Cluestar, Rakdos Locket, both tap for red or black. They cast for 3 mana, and they can be sacrificed later to draw cards. Igneous Pouncer is a 5/1 with haste, and it has Swamp Cycling for 2 and Mountain Cycling for 2. And you have Renegade's Map and Traveler's Amulet. That is all the ramp in this deck, because most of this deck is very low to the ground. As for the draw cards, there's 11 draw cards. The first 6 cards pretty much do the same thing. They're 2 mana artifacts in a battlefield. Draw me a card. Golden Egg, though, I can pay 1, sacrifice, add 1 mana of any color of my mana pool, or pay 2 and sacrifice it and gain 3 life. Gilded Globe, I can pay 2 and sacrifice it, get 2 mana of any combination of my mana pool. Metal Spinner's Locket. Puzzle Knot. This one does cost me a life when it comes into play. And I can pay 3 and sacrifice it to lose a life and draw another card. Prismatic Prism allows me to filter mana. Ichor Wellspring, when it enters the battlefield and leaves, I draw a card. Alchemist Vial enters the battlefield, lets me draw 1 card. And then I can pay 1 and sacrifice it to have target creature where it can attack or block this turn. Now, Terrarian, enter battlefield, tap, I may pay 2 and add 2 mana of any color to my mana pool, any combination. When it's put in the graveyard, draw a card. Sign in Blood and Scrum of Temptation, lose 2 life, draw 2 cards. Now, Wild Guess, discard a card for 2 mana, draw 2 cards. Honor the God Pharaoh has two purposes in this deck. I discard a card, draw 2 cards, and create a 1/1 zombie that I can sacrifice to my commander. And Thrill of Possibilities. 2 mana, discard a card, draw 2 cards. Now on to the recovery of the deck, because you're going to be pitching creatures so much you want a way to bring them back. Murderous Burst. Return a creature card from your graveyard to your battle from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then you can deal that much damage equal to its power to target player. So there are some big creatures in this deck you do want to bring back and use that on. Grave Purge. For 3 mana, you take any number of creature cards from your graveyard and put them back on top of your deck in any order. Then you draw a card. Font of Return. For 2 mana to cast, 4 to sacrifice. Return up to 3 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Omen of the Dead. It's 1 mana, return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. And you may pay 3 and sacrifice it to scry 2. Now onto the hard removal of the deck. There's a lot of creatures that die that trigger off acting as kill spells when they die, but these cards are the hard removal when creatures aren't available. Terminate, Doomblade, and Blind Zealot. Blind Zealot's a little different, but still considered removal to me. It's a 2/2 with Intimidate. that whenever it deals combat damage, I may sacrifice it. If I do so, I get to destroy target creature. Now, on to what makes this deck actually run. There is 23 1-drop creatures. Every single creature in this deck is 1 mana cost, so Grim Physician, when it dies, target creature gets -1/-1. Shambling Goblin, whenever it dies, target creature gets -1/-1. Ginger Brute has haste. I may pay 1 to make it where it can't block set by a creature with haste. I may pay 3 and sacrifice it to gain 3 life. Star Warrior's Vigilante, whenever it becomes blocked, it does additional damage to that blocking creature. Weedleback Redcap, I can pay 2 to give it +2/+0 to end the turn. Gyri Lava Runner, it's a 1/2 that if I have 2 or more instant sorceries in my graveyard, he gets +1/+0 and has haste. Forge Devil, whenever this enters the battlefield, I lose 1 life, I can deal 1 damage to target creature. Thirsting Shades, and 1 more lifelink, I can pay 3 to give it +1/+1. Grasping Scoundrel, whenever it attacks, it gets a +1/+0. Lava Step Raider, pay 3, it gets a +2/+0. Night Market Lookout, whenever it becomes tapped, each opponent loses 1 life and I gain 1 life. Cinder Wall is a 3/3 for 1. Whenever it blocks, sacrifice it. Grim Invader, whenever it dies, I get to amass 1, so it's a 1/1 that replaces itself with a 1/1. Plague Beetle, it's a 1/1 with Swamp Walk for 1. Pulse Tracker, whenever it attacks, each opponent loses 1 life. Blight Keeper, it's a 1/1 with flying. I'm going to pay 8 and have it sacrifice and have target opponent lose 4 life and I gain 4 life. Vector Asp, it's a 1/1 I can pay a black and give it Infect. 99% of the time I won't win with Infect with this deck. Sparring Construct, whenever it dies, I put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Firelight Mage, I may pay 2, discard a card from my hand, and give target creature Intimidate. Sanitarium Skeleton is a 1/2 that I can pay 3 to return it from my graveyard. Pay 3 and return it from my graveyard to my hand. Bellowing Lizard, I may pay 2 and give it +1/+0. Scorch Spitter, whenever it attacks, I apologize about that. Scorch Spitter, whenever it attacks, defending player it deals 1 damage. And Eye Collector, whenever it does combat damage to a player, each player mills 1. Now, onto the bigger creatures of this deck. Toxic Nim is a 4/1 with Infect and Regenerate. Sultai Scavenger has Delve, and it's a 3/3 with Flying for 6. But with five cards in my graveyard, which is not hard to do with this deck, I can cast it for 1 mana. And with all the artifacts in this deck, Bleak Cove Vampires have Metalcraft. If I have 3 more artifacts when the battlefield, target opponent loses 4 life and I gain 4 life. Now on to the utility creatures of this deck. Sootstoke Kindler. It's a 1/1 with haste for hybrid red-black and 1. I can tap it to give target red or black creature haste. Ward-Eye Witch. Whenever Ward-Eye Witch or another creature dies, I get to scry 1. Embala Gear Smasher. I can tap it and sacrifice an artifact. Have it deal 2 damage to each opponent. And Gavnian Hollow. Whenever a creature I control dies, I put a 1/1 counter on it. Now, on to cards that don't really have a set category, but are good utility for this deck. Forensic Rage. Enchanted creature gets +2/+1 and has Menace. Cosmotronic Wave. I deal 1 damage to each creature my opponents control. They cannot block this turn. Golden Urn. For 1 mana, it just sits on the board. Each of them upkeeps, I put a charge counter. I may sacrifice to gain the amount of life equal to the number of charge counters on it. Trespasser's Curse. Midnight Scavengers and Graft Rats, which meld into Chittering Host, which will give all my creatures +1/+0 and menace until end of turn. Fireheart. As an additional cost, I sacrifice a creature or planeswalker. I deal 4 damage to whatever I want. Giant Spear. Enchanted creature gets +2/+1. Whenever enchanted equipped creature deals combat damage, which I get to create a food token that I can sacrifice for life later. Dragon's Flutter gives me 2/1/1 goblin tokens for 2. And Herbal Plinkets, it casts for 0, but I'm going to pay 3 and sacrifice it to regenerate target creature. Now, on to the enchantments of the deck. Raid Bombardment. Whenever a creature power 2 or less attacks, I deal 1 damage to defending player. With all these 1-drops for 1 power in this deck, I'm going to deal a lot of damage with this really fast. Now, Eternal Thirst. I usually like to enchant the commander because of what it does. Eternal Thirst, whenever a creature dies, an opponent controls dies, because there's a lot of ways to kill off stuff in this, because people want to block stuff, people want to deal with stuff. My opponents kill the stuff for me. I'm able to continuously put up counters and stuff on there. So, and that makes my commander a little harder to deal with. Now on to the mana base. 13 swamps. 7 mountains. Rakdos Carbonara. Rakdos Guildgate. Bloodfed Caves. And all these lands in battlefield tapped and produce red or black mana. By the way, Bloodfed Caves in battlefield tapped gives me 1 life. Akum Refuge into battlefield tapped and gives me 1 life. And Cinder Barrens is into battlefield tapped. Terramorphic Expanse, Evolving Wilds, Ash Baron, and Jund Panorama all do the same thing. They search out for basic land. Forgotten Cave and Barren Moor are both cycling lands. It lets me discard them by paying a red or a black and drawing a card. Mortuary Mire enters the battlefield. I return a creature card from my graveyard to the top of my deck. That finishes up the deck. I hope y'all like, share, and subscribe. And thank y'all, and please be safe out there.